Oh, hi. I just got a phone call, or actually a text from my husband. Tonight we were going to host some of his golf buddies and their wives, and we're going to sit outside and have the fire pit going, and it was going to be appetizers, small chilies, small apple pies, some Lisi Brie tartlets, and gratin grog that I created. So he texted just a moment ago and said, well, what if they come around 4 or 5 instead of 6:30? That's fine, but that also means that it's more of a dinner versus apps, because I assume people were going to eat already, and so they were going to be smaller portions. Luckily, I made a huge pot of chili last night, so that's not a problem. But an extra 2 hours early kind of makes a difference on the putting things together schedule. So I thought I would leave the camera rolling while I put together all these items, and let's just get some cooking done. Behind me, I have a small container of chili on, but now I think I have to put the pot on the stove. We're still not sure if it's the 4 o'clock or the 6 o'clock. I'm still waiting. They're golfing. So either way, I got this. I have on my sparkly shoes and I'm ready. I'm gonna put on my apron, and I think I will start the mix for my little mini apple pies, because that's the messiest, and then I can just get everything into the dishwasher. So let's get going. I think I need more coffee for this one. It's 12 o'clock, so, okay, we can do this. Update, 5:30, the earliest. All right, so we gained an hour. All right. So one thing I did with this, and I know I'm probably echoing, but I have you further away, and the microphone I have just makes a lot of noise. I have to get a better one, but what I like to do with this, since it's the suction bottom and it doesn't always work well on my counters, I put it on my cookie tray. Plus it makes cleanup a little bit easier. So I'm gonna get that nice and tight so I can hold the cookie tray while I'm moving it. Let's see. I have apples in the bag because we have some fruit fly issues. Get my lemon juice. I'm gonna pull up my apple pie recipe on my website. Let's see. Hey, bird. Trying to do this and film it, trying to keep in mind that I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. A little awkward. Now, since these are in mini pies or little mini containers, I'm gonna make my apple pieces a little bit smaller than normal so that a spoon can be used. My lemon juice. I'm going to have to start doing a voiceover because as I was working on this project, I forgot to keep talking, and
I had to get on a roll. I had so many things ahead of me to do, and I actually forgot that I was filming at certain times of this, so bear with me. Right now I am putting in the brown sugar, and like I mentioned, this recipe is on my website, newenglandfineliving.com. Putting in some flour here, and this is the mixture that I'm going to be putting in with the apples. Now I'm putting in some cinnamon, and then I will be doing a little touch of nutmeg. This particular apple pie recipe is my grandmother's apple pie. I have no idea where she got it. My mother doesn't know, but my mother always made it. I've made it ever since I could bake, and now my daughter also makes this pie, so it is definitely a favorite in our family. And right now I'm just mixing in that sugar dry mixture, and I'm going to be putting it in ramekins. And I do like to put these on top of a tinfoil covered cookie sheet because it does get quite messy sometimes. So here's one of my history fun facts for you. Did you know that Johnny Appleseed was a real person? Not only was he a real person, he was from New England, Leominster, Mass. To be exact. His name was John Chapman. He was born in 1774, and he became known as Johnny Appleseed because he introduced apple trees to a large part of the country, such as in Pennsylvania, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. He became very well known as a nurseryman for the area. So we can thank Mr. Chapman for introducing our country to the apple. So for these, I usually just use a store-bought pie pastry or pie crust. It's so much faster, and even though I do make pie crust sometimes, it's rare at this point. So I'm just going to unroll this, and I grabbed 2 cookie cutters, and I have 2 different sizes because one of the ramekins was a little larger than the others after I was told we might have a 9th person. I wasn't sure which size cookie cutter would work on this additional ramekin, so I did have a large one luckily. I'm using it for that particular one, and then you're going to see I just use the smaller circle for the others, and I'm really just doing it so it's just touching the edge of the ramekin. You could certainly do this by hand, you could trace it with a cup, just anything that's going to fill it. Now if I hadn't made that 9th container, the filling would have went to the top, and I probably would have been able to make it more like a pie top, but I worked with what I had. And now I'm looking in my jar of cookie cutters to find my leaf cutters, which I've used now for several years in a row, and I think I'm going to go with the oak leaf this time. Now I'm making an egg wash, and all I'm doing is taking 1 egg, I'm adding just a touch of water, going to mix it up just so it's watered down a little bit. Then I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to paint it over the top of that first layer of pie crust. One, that's going to help make it golden. It will also help the sugar stick that I'm going to be putting on, and then it will help the leaf pastry adhere. I'll also do another layer, but you'll see that in a moment. I should mention at this time that if your pastry goes over the top like it normally would on a pie dish, you'd want to poke in some steam holes, but I have space all around the edge, so I did not need to do that. And right now I'm going to be adding my vanilla sugar. There's actually a vanilla bean in this container, and it smells so good. I'm going to link this below along with a lot of the other products that I'm using, but I've had this sugar, and every apple pie that I make, it goes on top. And now that I've cut out my first leaf from the pie crust, I'm just brushing it with the egg wash to adhere it to the other piece, and I'm going to push it down here, and then I will once again soon be doing egg wash over that and a little more sugar. But first we're going to add a little detail. Now, this detail can certainly be skipped, but I love adding the veins of a leaf in. So right now I'm just using a skewer that I had and just adding a little bit down the center and then off of each tip. And after just making sure there was a little more egg wash on there, I'm going to use a little more vanilla sugar. And no, these don't fall in line with the completely eating healthy, changing my eating pattern because of the 20 pounds I've put on. But you know what? This is the time of year that I love to bake, so I'm going to enjoy, and then after this I will go for a walk the next day, not today, and I will work this off somehow. And here they are, all ready to go into the oven that has been preheating to 350. It's going to be about 45 minutes. And once they come out, you're going to have nice golden pie crust, and around the edges you're going to have that caramelized apple that's left over, and it is delicious. The next morning there were actually 2 left over because somebody didn't have theirs, so my husband and I enjoyed ours for breakfast. So I guess the eating healthy is going to start tomorrow, and that's okay. As I mentioned earlier, this took a lot longer than I thought it would, so I'm going to show you how I made my chili in another video, how I made our gratin grog that I created in another video, and the brie tartlets will probably be part of one of those two because that was very quick and easy. But I want to thank you for following along and watching my YouTube channel, and thank you so much for those who have subscribed, and if you haven't already subscribed, I welcome you to do so.